My girlfriend slept with her celebrity crush. Oh no. I'm still in shock. I'm heartbroken. My GF and I have been dating for 4 years. We lived together. During that time, she had been obsessed with a very minor YouTube musician. He has a few videos with a couple million views and a small following. All right, a couple of hits. During our entire relationship, she's always claimed that he was her exception. I always assumed it was a joke. I'd fire right back with my celebrity crush. Well, he went on tour and played in the city near us at a small venue. She went with a coworker to see him. After the concert, she didn't come home that night or answer my texts. I assumed she slept over the coworker since she lives closer to the venue. All right, so he assumes that she just slept over with her friend. She came home the next morning and didn't talk about the concert much. I asked questions and got vague answers, which was odd. I assumed she was tired. Later that day, she broke the news to me. It was bizarre. She said it with a smile on her face as though I was gonna be happy and excited for her. I'm heartbroken. I was yelling. We were both crying. She said she didn't know how I'd react, but she didn't think it would be this extreme. She said, I always knew he was her exception. I didn't think she was serious. I'm currently staying in a motel and I don't know what to do. I love her so much, but I can't think about her without thinking about what she did. She's tainted my memory of her. I cannot help but think that clearly she does not love me unconditionally like she claims she does, because this is not love. Clearly, I'm not the one she's obsessing over, even though she is the one who I've always been obsessed over. If I am not enough for her, then I don't know if I'll ever be. And it clearly seems as though I am not enough for her. I am lost. I am hurt. I am alone. This is a really intense story for these kinds of videos. I feel bad for this guy. This is also such a thin definition of celebrity. I feel like your girlfriend picked out someone she could actually potentially and did sleep with. When most people's hall pass is like Ryan Gosling or Megan Fox. Sorry, dude. She said she didn't know how I'd react, but she didn't think it would be this extreme. She could have phoned you before it happened. Make sure it was okay if that's what you're into. Even told you when she got it. She knew she did wrong, and that's why she kept silent till the guilt really kicked in. It's not about being honest with you, it's about relieving her own guilt. Does what she wants, asks for forgiveness after. Complete lack of empathy. You really want to be with someone like that? You're in love with the idea of her, the one you've created in your head, not the real her. If anything, she's not good enough for you. I mean, yeah, at that point, the celebrity thing is really kind of crazy. The celebrity crush. She really did pick the lowest bar. This was like, oh yeah, no, the really popular sandwich shop guy. That's my pass. That's my pass. Cheating is cheating. Doesn't matter if it's a celebrity or not. Very true. The bar for celebrity here is so low that it's hardly even worth mentioning. She basically just screwed some random guy she's obsessed with. Tried to warn a girl at my gym. I tried to warn a girl at my gym that she had period stains on the back of her shorts, and she went on a rant saying that she was working out and, oh my God, trying to make fun of me in front of everyone for being weird. So I announced to the entire gym that she was staining the equipment with her period blood and that she needed to wash and clean herself immediately. I have never seen her since. I wonder why. I know it was probably really petty and I got a lot of shit from people for doing that, but honestly, try being humble enough to listen before making a public scene. Fucking drama queens. One time I was working out and saw a woman with a stain and I went and discreetly told her and she said thank you. It's a boring story and that's good. Wasn't there a post last week about someone who stopped being someone's friend because she free bled all over the gym and her defense was, but I wipe it up with a towel. Ugh, that's super gross and unhygienic. Yeah, this is nasty. My husband peed on my wedding dress the night of our wedding. Finally, we're getting to some good content. I still have no idea what the fuck is going on in his head to think that this was nothing or no big deal. He literally peed on my wedding dress the night of our wedding, inside the hotel room. I yelled at him, what the fuck, constantly, and he nonchalantly said that he was just marking his territory. Huh? Excuse me? And he went on about how he's been wanting to do this when he gets married and that he didn't tell me because he was positively 100% sure I'd get mad at him. But he said it's worth it since he got to do it. What? I couldn't believe it, but he assured me that pee washes off easily and I shouldn't worry, but I was so mad and disgusted by what he did. He acted like nothing happened and was actually expecting sex, but I told him off. I just can't get rid of the awful feeling in sight. I couldn't even sleep in the bed with him after that. I knew you'd get mad. Well, I can tell this marriage is going to have massive communication issues. Pee on everything he holds dear. Pee on his PS5. The PS5. It's the only thing you can do. Like, I once peed in my cat's cat box when I was drunk, and I felt absolutely terrible for months after. This is like psychotic. And the cat was probably annoyed that you didn't cover it up. You know, like proper protocol. Wow, what a way to start a marriage. He didn't tell me because because he was positively 100% sure I'd get mad at him, but he said it's worth it since he got to do it. This logic can be applied to a lot of unsavory things, like cheating on you, or worse, eating all the cream out of Oreos then putting them back in the box. Really only something that true miscreants do. I purposefully spilled a giant glass of wine on my mother at my brother's wedding. Oh, why? Last month, my brother got married to the woman he has spent the last 7 years of his life with. My sister-in-law is a wonderful woman, and I'm more than happy for the two of them. Well, my mother, being the venomous demon she is, decided that one of the most important days in her oldest child's life must be made about her in some way. She showed up in an incredibly frilly white bridal dress. You never show up in white at the wedding. Oh, she was the talk of the whole event. For all the wrong reasons, I mind you. My brother didn't even know if she would show up after a previous meltdown of hers, but he didn't even know what to do when he walked down the aisle to see her sitting in the front row. My sister-in-law looked livid as well when she saw her. At the lunch afterwards, things only got worse, and I knew my mother was going to ruin this day, so I decided to take one for the team. We were served glasses of red wine at lunch, and I asked for mine to be filled to the brim. I walked over to where my mother was sitting and tripped, dousing her perfect white dress. I nearly got on my knees to apologize, and she missed the lunch and much of the first half of the reception driving back home. 4-hour round trip to change into the dress my brother had originally bought for her. Lucky for me, no one cared but my mother. The maid of honor even ended up slipping me a text right after the scene telling me that I deserve an Oscar for my performance. I didn't plan on coming onto the internet to brag about destroying a bridal dress and causing a scene at my brother's wedding, but I just received a bottle of red wine from my sister-in-law with a card saying, "Enjoy the best bottle of wine I could find for the best wedding gift you could have given us. Peace of mind." The hero your fam needed and deserved. Real shit. Real heroes don't wear capes. They spill wine. Looks like the SIL got a great new sibling and you got a pretty cool new SIL as well. I said in a previous post, the bride needs 2 super soakers. One filled with water and the other red wine. Water for any surprise proposals and the wine for people in white. Absolutely. I left my wife because I'm sick of everything needing to match her, quote, aesthetic. Oh boy. I know it seems like a dumb thing to end my marriage over, but after dealing with this for so long, I'm finally done. My wife and I are both in our 30s. We have a daughter. My wife has always been pretty into appearances, but it was never this bad. She just wanted things to look nice for when people come over. Then she started an Instagram page for moms and got a massive amount of followers. Momfluencer. About 400,000 since our daughter was born. Ever since then, I don't feel like I live in a house. I live in an Instagram photo shoot. There can't be any proof we actually live here. My wife stresses so much about things looking good that she doesn't actually enjoy the moment. She started a fight with me right after our daughter took her first steps because I'd put my drink down on the table behind her and it's all she could see. Now she'd need to edit it out of the video. She called me a selfish prick for putting my drink down on a coffee table to watch my daughter take her first steps. Oh man, that's rough. It's no longer just a tender moment, it's how things look. Our daughter's bedroom is just a mass of beige and cream. Ugh! There's barely any toys in it, which is fine while our daughter was small, but now she's getting older. My wife refuses to buy her any toys that don't match her aesthetic. My mother took my daughter to the store and let her pick out a toy. She picked out this dollhouse from the show she watches. She got all the dolls and furniture, and my wife told her she had to keep it at my mother's house because there was, quote, no place for it at home. She absolutely had room for it. My wife is convinced I'm leaving for another woman, I'm having an affair, etc., but I'm not. I just can't keep feeling like I live in a museum where I can't touch or move anything. I can't even build a blanket fort with my kid without my wife flipping out that they're decorative blankets and that she'd folded them a special way. I'm not gonna force my daughter to live in aesthetic. Very fair. I have a friend who's a mommy influencer. Well, had. I couldn't stand seeing how she curated her feed over her children's happiness. All of the happy moments were fake. The kids were mad posing for picture after picture. She would hide the mess, bribe them with treats, get the perfect curated picture for her feed, then proceed to ignore them and interact with her followers. It blew my mind to see the behind the scenes of what looked like a picture perfect life. At least by leaving her, half of time, let's hope, she can actually be allowed to be a messy kid who has some fun. Okay, stay in the house, unfold the blankets, give your kids doll houses, hang pictures of yourself and your family on your walls. What is she gonna do about it? Divorce you for that? The judge will laugh her demands out of the courtroom. I would say you're not leaving her because of her addiction to her aesthetic. You are leaving her because she is selfish and obsessed with all that social media bullshit to that point where she puts that over her family. Good choice, bro. What people will do for a few followers always amazes me. It's an addiction. It could definitely be an addiction. It's like a dopamine hit, for sure. The candidate I had to interview for this week was my high school bully. Oh, it all comes back around. I work for a fairly large company in the tech industry. I've worked there for about 5 years now, and I have a fairly high up role in management. Over the last few weeks, I got roped into helping build a new team within the company and was assigned to do multiple interviews. This was fairly short notice for me, so my job was only to do the interview and give my impressions of the candidate and the results of the interview. The company is also just back to doing in-person interviews, so the process is even more wonky as of now. When I received the list of candidates for the day, I saw the name of a man we'll call Brad. It had been over 15 years since I'd last seen him, but I could never forget the face of the man who made my high school years a living hell. Brad was your typical bully jock. I was an overweight theater kid in AP Math and Science, and you could see where this is going. Those were the worst years of my life, and Brad was one of the ones who contributed to that. So to see him in the candidates here was a shock to me. I didn't believe it at first, but when Brad walked in for the interview, I knew that I was face to face with the man who bullied me in high school. At first, Brad didn't recognize me, but as we sat down, he remembered who I was. He tried to play buddy-buddy with me, pretend we were friends in high school, and I played along. I did the interview, he did okay. Nothing standout, but middle of the pack. He made a joke that I would get him the job, right? I laughed along and he left. I finalized the interviews yesterday. I wrote Brad a scathing review, downplayed everything good about him and exaggerated his flaws. Also wrote in that he tried to coerce me into giving him a good review because he, quote, was an acquaintance in high school, end quote. It's been 15 years since I graduated high school. I'm an entirely different person than I was then, but for some reason, I was dragged back to those days, and I don't know how to feel. My school bully saw me at a reunion 20 years later. He came over, we chatted with a group of people, he waited for the right moment, then asked semi-privately my forgiveness for what he and a couple others had done. He said he cannot expect me to accept his apology, that he wished he could undo it, but that he felt really sorry for it. I accepted, felt good. And you know, I feel like if Brad, the school bully, went this route, probably would have been a lot better for his career opportunities. Don't you love it when life comes around full circle? It's serendipitous, isn't it? If Brad had sincerely apologized for his behavior, you would have been the jerk, but he didn't. He tried to play it off like he did nothing wrong. As such, you were honest in describing his character as unfit for the job. My 26M wife 29F just came out to me as lesbian, and I'm not in the slightest okay with it. Like in a bigoted way, or like this turned our life upside down way? I feel like that context is important. We've been together for about 5 years, but we were friends before that, and I've pretty much been living a lie. I've seen for the first time in years what she looks like when she's actually happy and not faking it, and that just feels like a punch in my stomach. Last time I saw her like this was back in the early stages of our relationship. I've been falling deeper in love with her every day that we were together, and we even had a beautiful son, and now everything's all over the place. I can't really just up and leave to go process all of this because of my son, but I can't stand being here and seeing her every other day. I mean, I've been pretending everything's okay, but every time I see her, I want to scream until my head explodes. We agreed to get divorced early next month and have already agreed to share custody. She seems to be happy that she's finally herself, and it just pisses me off that I'm the one that has to pretend now so that things stay smooth. Hypocritical of me, yes, but I'm only human and I can't really lie to myself until I believe that I'm not angry. I really don't want to be an absent father, but I would also prefer not interacting with her for some time until I can properly deal with my anger towards her, because I know that I keep pretending everything's fine, my mental state's only going to get worse. So this seems like he's upset about the marriage, just the whole life kind of turning upside down. I get that. You're allowed to have feelings, man. You're allowed to be angry, frustrated, and disappointed. You could feel all those things and be a decent human being. My first boyfriend was gay. He thought that because I was such a strong personality and cool and well-dressed and pretty that somehow that would save him from his gayness. He didn't want to be gay at all, but he didn't have a choice. And he could try all he might. He couldn't fight against who he was. I was young and inexperienced in life and love and didn't know what to do with my feelings. I was distraught and desperately wanted the situation to be anything other than what I was facing. Once he had come out to me, I could see him gaining confidence and joy. But every single time he smiled at a man or was smiled at by a man, it brought me to my knees. It took me a couple years to even begin to accept reality. Superficially, I did, and I felt so guilty for my anger and sorrow. While I could see him grow and become happier and more himself right before my eyes, sometimes the jealousy made me feel ill. It took time, and I was emotionally mangled for a while. I can't even imagine the agony of sharing a child. I'm so sorry that you have to go through this. It's extremely difficult. My ex and I ended up becoming lifelong friends. He died a few years ago, and honestly, by that point, we were brother and sister. The love between us was true and real, and over time, it changed and became something else. Something strong and sustaining. I wish you and your family the very best. My wife sleeps like an asshole. Well, what does she do? I love this woman more than life itself. She's the most selfless, supportive, and loving person I have ever met. Every single day I am with her, the better I am a person for it. That being said, she sleeps like an asshole. We start all cuddled up like in a Disney movie, snug as a bug in a rug. And then, when she falls asleep, we begin the nightly turf war that is our bed. She'll often start with a classic starfish maneuver, spreading her arms and legs to establish a beachhead to begin her insurgence. She will then begin to slowly rotate her body in a counterclockwise fashion until she is sleeping diagonally across the bed, establishing an ingress with her feet and legs. Then, with a classic pincer executed as ruthlessly as Hannibal himself, she brings her upper body forward, pinning me in and leaving me exactly 2 inches for my insomniac ass to try and sleep on. I then try to slowly slide into bed, sleep on her side, in which her reaction is to do the same thing 5 minutes later. I've tried everything. We bought a California King for our tiny bedroom. She's taking up all the space in a California King. Are you dating the fucking Birch from Crypt TV? How tall is this woman? You dating Slender Man? I establish a green zone with pillows. I've even gently picked her up and slid her to her side to no avail. The thing is, I can't sleep in an empty bed anymore because I love this dummy so much. It has literally kept me up nights that I end up going to work with no sleep, and I can only sleep the next night out of sheer exhaustion. She also works hard, so I can't wake her up, but am I tired. There's only one solution: bunk beds. Oh, so much more room for activities. One idea is a weighted blanket for her. My kids move around a lot when they sleep, but not with the weighted blanket. You should get bumpers set up like a bowling alley. Well, when she falls asleep, the bumpers go up. Establish dominance. Starfish back. I am secretly my boyfriend's live stream viewers. That's so sweet. My boyfriend has just started streaming and he seems pretty excited about it. He didn't buy a whole setup yet, but live streams whenever he's on. I streamed briefly and know how hard it is to get viewers. I opened multiple private browsers on my personal laptop, work laptop, and phone. That way I can have his stream going and it counts as multiple viewers. When he saw 4, he was stoked. It's only 4 viewers, but he was so happy. There's very little in the world right now that can cause genuine happiness and expression. I sit on the other side of the couch with all the volume down and all devices and just pretend I'm doing schoolwork. Final words on your deathbed to your boyfriend/future husband. I was all 4 of your live stream viewers. This made me laugh. Movie material. All 4 of them, babe. On one hand, it's sweet and very supportive of you, but on the other hand, I always wonder what the reaction will be if they found out. There's no harm in doing so, but depending on the expectations, it would be akin to pulling back the curtains if it was revealed that all 4 of his viewers was just his girlfriend he was trying to interact with. I mean, I think it's a sweet gesture. I always have problems with that word. I do this for my man too. I've been doing it for a few months now and slowly his following is growing. I got so excited when he got real viewers that I almost blew my cover. I just blocked my own wife on Facebook. I've always been a 40K a year guy. No education. We've been married 20 years. 2017, I landed a mediocre job that paid 70K to do oil industry that I'll never understand. 2019, we buy a house. 2020, I lose the job. I collect unemployment for a month, then go to work in a warehouse for $15 an hour. She gets a job there too at the same wage. Sweet. Both of us combined make what I used to make. We'll be fine. She says it's fine because she'll do anything to keep the house. After a week, she decides she can't handle working 40 hours a week. So she makes this post on Facebook, talking down on me for not doing enough for my family after she quits the job. I wanted to reply, but don't want to be that guy on Facebook, so I blocked her. I'm ranting right now because I'm drunk and thinking of just walking away. I feel like she's totally in the wrong for being too lazy to work a 40-hour week. She thinks she does enough at home. Normally I would agree, but she doesn't do shit. The house is trashed when I get home, and she's usually stoned and drunk and doesn't even know where our 9-year-old daughter is. Whoa, she doesn't know where the kid is? She's at the neighbor's kid's house is her usual response. I just want to leave her now, but don't know how. Thanks for listening, Reddit. Hey, I know you're drunk right now, so wait until you're sober before you make your decision. She shouldn't put you down while you support her and your family while she does nothing, especially on social media. It doesn't sound like she'll do anything for the house. It sounds like she'll do anything for herself. Do you guys not see each other IRL? Talk about this IRL? Is it normal to post on social media before having a person-to-person conversation? Sober up and talk. That's honestly probably the best way this can go, is just having a long talk about it, you know? Well, that was great. That was great to read. I definitely think that if she's posting on Facebook, like, my man won't do this, my man won't do that, when you just lost a job, like, if we're going over the facts again, let's be clear here. He had no education, at $40K a year, landed a $70K a year job, got let go within a couple of years, and then got on his feet within a month. He is hustling as best he can. I don't feel like there's a failing here, you know what I mean? I don't think this guy's in the wrong for that. For how he feels, not at all.